Now here's Mike.
All right, thank you very much, Janice. We continue now with a very important subject. We were talking last week about setting up a trust, how important that is for you and your beneficiaries. But now Stewart Welch from the Wealth Group is joining us once again on Monday, Tuesday to talk about some other important documents you should include with that. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
There are some scenarios where this is very important, what you're talking about today.
So picture you become incompetent. You're in an automobile accident, you have a severe sickness, illness, and you become in, let's just coma, so that you cannot make decisions for yourself. It is critical. This is a must-have document. It's called a power of attorney.
And there's different versions of it, so let's talk about some of those.
A lot of different versions of this. So one of them is called a springing power, and that's a springing, so what you're doing is you're nominating somebody to act on your behalf in this document, saying this person can sign checks. Springing power means it doesn't spring into being until you're actually incompetent, declared incompetent by your physician.
Okay.
And then the next one is going to be the general power of attorney. And under a general power of attorney, it's effective all the time. It's effective immediately, it's effective all the time. But it's, and so again, you've given somebody else the power to do this. And in this case, if you became incompetent
or incapacitated,
this one goes away.
Okay.
So what most people will do is the next one, which is a general and durable power of attorney.
All right, explain
and that says that it's in being now, but if you become incompetent, it remains in being. So whoever you've nominated to act on your behalf can do so
and
at that time.
And can you choose more than one? I mean, because
you can.
Yeah,
so typically you're going to choose a primary and you're going to have a backup.
Yeah.
I usually wouldn't do two together, but I would have one behind the other.
Okay.
And then finally, there's one called a limited power of attorney, and that's usually done for limited cases, like you're going to be in Europe, but you need a document that's going to be signed in the United States while you're out of the country, and you give somebody a limited power for a limited period of time.
Okay, and then I know we have, you know, there are some places you can, online, you can get some of this done, but there's some caution there, right?
Well, I think first you got to decide which one of these you want. An attorney is a good person to help you do that. It's not an expensive document, so I'm going to say under $500 for an attorney to do it typically.
Okay.
And but there are places like LegalZoom that you can go and be very inexpensive.
All right, so now, but there's some health care issues you need to also consider when you're talking about some documents that you need to have.
You're exactly right. So there's this thing called an advance directive for health care. It's divided into two parts. The living will is the portion where you say, if I become incompetent, here's the level of care I want. Do I want a feeding tube? Do I want to have hydration? Do I want to have pain medication? Those kinds of things. You tell them what you want. And then the second piece of this is what's called a healthcare proxy. And healthcare proxy is, in addition to telling them your wishes, you say, but I'm going to give somebody the power to not only discuss my issue with the doctors, but I'm also going to give them the power to help make decisions on my behalf.
Especially you're giving them consent. Now, but that's very important if you have, say, a college-age child, right? It's once they reach 19, or is it 21? I'm not sure, but there's a certain age you reach where you have to, if you want your parents still involved in talking about medical decisions that need to be made, if you're in the hospital, you need to give them that document, right?
So, Mike, this is really important. Most people miss this.
Right.
The kids go off to college, they turn 19, they're actually legally an adult.
Okay.
They end up in the hospital. Guess what? If you don't have this document in place, the physician cannot tell you what's going on. So you want to be sure you have it.
All right, take care of that. Stewart, some good information this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.